Welcome back to Bridge Live. I'm your host, Justin McCord. With me is Olga Woltman, co-hosting this year, once again, Bridge Live, sponsored by RKD Group. We are pleased to be joined by Steve Froehlich from GoFundMe Pro. Steve, how's your bridge so far?
I'm loving it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm just over the moon to be here again this year.
Yeah. This isn't your first bridge.
It's not.
Tell us about your bridge origin story, if you would.
I was at the first one. I remember before it was at the Gaylord, 05 or 06, where AFP, DMAW, my memory was that N10 was there as well, but I was told that wasn't the case.
Okay.
In the basement of the Marriott. Mm-hmm. Whether it was DMA Nonprofit Federation or some of the other AFP shows before it, I am a big fan of nonprofit conferences and the entire sector, right? You got 2,400 fundraisers and people who help raise money for some of the best causes on the planet. You can't shake a stick without finding someone in it.
Right.
And yeah, this sector just is so close-knit. Yeah. You spend enough time in it. It's like a family reunion of sorts. And you're watching people through different parts of their careers. People I met that were doing inbound phone calls for me in 06, 07 are now leading mid-level giving and texting programs, and like just watching the career progression is what makes it so special.
Yeah. Any particularly fun memories over the years?
Yeah. I hosted a session before the pandemic where I was able to bring 3 of the giants of our industry. And I think some of the reason I love nonprofit fundraising so much is that we really do. We stand on the shoulders of the people who came before us. Mm-hmm. And so I have this like deep reverence and respect for people like Chuck Longfield, who was there in the beginning of Team Approach, and Lynn Edmonds from the LW Robbins days, and Larry May back from May. And I had all 3 of them on a panel in 2017 or 18, and I asked them to reflect back on the last 30 years of fundraising and what will come forward. That was like a special moment, not just in my life, to be able to interview 3 of these titans of industry and get them to reflect back, and then all of them have passed the baton, right, to others who have come in their footsteps.
Yeah.
So I kind of geek out on stuff like that.
Fair enough.
Do you feel like you're holding one of those batons now?
No, I don't. I mean, look, I felt like I've been in very special places at special times. Yeah. What I would say instead is that I've been able to watch us catch lightning in the bottle. Mm-hmm. And so, in order to be one of those titans, you have to show repeatedly that you can do it again and again. And I just think I've gotten so lucky with the people I've gotten to work with and the cause moments. I'd like to be, I aspire to be.
Of course.
It is my career ambition, but I haven't earned that yet.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
So Steve, your role currently is the voice of the customer.
Yeah.
So can we unpack that a little bit? What does it mean? What are some big trends that you're paying attention to? Why does it matter to our sector?
Yeah, so we define customer as fundraiser. Sometimes that fundraiser is an individual who's raising money for a friend, a family member, themselves. Sometimes that fundraiser is on staff at a nonprofit doing digital fundraising. And they both share similar problems, concerns, passions, and when you're trying to reduce friction for donors, I think it's also important to remember we're trying to reduce friction for fundraisers. Mm-hmm. You got to make it easier to tell your story, you have to make it easier to access the tools, because anytime a fundraiser spends frustrated is time they're not spending as fundraising. So when I think about the customer, I think how do we make life easier for people who want to raise money and help people help each other?
Yeah.
You have spent your career primarily on the nonprofit side, and until January.
Yeah.
And so in January, whenever you left the nonprofit side and you went to a part of the broader ecosystem with GoFundMe Pro in support of nonprofits, what were some of the things that you were expecting as a part of that transition? And then what, as you think about the last almost 8 months, has surprised you about stepping into the ecosystem and out of the nonprofit itself?
Great. There's a lot. I spent 30 years doing one job, and so now I'm 7 months into another job, right? So, look, because of the just sort of the time that I've spent, a lot of my best friends, my social contacts, are also nonprofit fundraisers. And so that work-life balance, it blurs, right? What I do for fun is what I get paid to do during the day as well. Because I've worked at some very big brands, ASPCA, St. Jude, Greenpeace, et cetera, things like that, people would often reach out for advice and would come to me and say, hey, you have experience with this, what should I do? And that was always flattering, but I didn't realize how much I enjoyed it when you take that hat off and now you are a commercial partner. I find myself trying to initiate a lot more of those conversations. Folks aren't always often to start the conversation. That's a big one. Other than that, the focus on helping people hit their numbers and understanding what the money means. I'll put it in this perspective. A friend told me once, when you raise money at a nonprofit, if you are unsuccessful, people won't get paid, or they'll lose their job, or lives will be impacted, and the mission won't be able to achieve its potential. What I was most pleasantly surprised at going to the other side, right, is that the team at GoFundMe feels the same way. They don't look at it as a for-profit business in the same way. Right. And so when a customer is down year over year, they take it seriously. It takes to heart. So yeah, it's a little bit hard to get my phone calls returned. People don't laugh at my jokes or tell me how smart I am at conferences as much, but there's this community, I think it transcends. If you're in the sector, you're in the sector. And I have really appreciated some aspects of that.
So let me ask you this, GoFundMe, can we talk a little bit about how it disrupts generosity, and do people give differently when it's direct to beneficiary, if you will, type of contributions?
So look, what I said earlier, we believe that fundraisers are our customers. They connect the world between people who need help, whether those are individuals or organizations, and people who want to help. So I think there's a lot more similarity than difference. I'm going to talk later on this afternoon on a panel presentation about declining trust. I think when people give, they want to know who's asking them and where will the money go. And sometimes at larger organizations, we can lose sight of how important it is of who's asking. Even when you love the brand, wear it on a t-shirt or a bumper sticker on your car, is it a faceless name signing a letter? But who's asking for the support and where will it go? GoFundMe has had a lot of success in the last 15 years by recognizing how important it is that the person asking has a real connection to who they're asking. Let's think about how most of these fundraisers start. A person has a need, they go in and start a campaign, they ask their best friends, their family members, and their closest colleagues. That's the community of support that often happens most in GoFundMe. Occasionally people will find enough passion to share it out. Neighbors, friends of friends, maybe distant relatives, or an occasional stranger starts to come in. And I guess you can call that a disruption, but I think it's always been there in the spirit of generosity. GoFundMe, I think, has been able to build these digital tools that help make the world a bit smaller and make it easier to be able to connect the people who want to give to the people who need it.
I think one of the blessings about the Bridge conference, you likened it to a family reunion. I was chatting with someone earlier and we were talking about it's kind of like homecoming and like the high school reunion, like you go back for homecoming, whether or not that's to college or high school, and you see the classes that came before you, and then you see your class, and then you start to see, as all of us are, the classes coming behind us. And yet so many organizations, they focus on sending leaders to these things, to these opportunities, and maybe miss some of the chance to send the next wave, the next generation. What do you think holds us back from thinking of these as opportunities to invest in the next group?
Wow. What a great question. Look, first, fundraisers are being asked to do more with less. These are not inexpensive. It's a big investment.
It is.
And so, unfortunately, I think sometimes the answer would be cost and time.
Yeah.
Those are probably two of the worst reasons, right?
Realist, but
I think, unfortunately, it's a very real obstacle.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of working with an organization called the Direct Marketing Fundraisers Association, the DMFA. And when they had excess revenue that came in as an organization, they would start a sponsorship program for nonprofits that wanted to send someone who wouldn't have otherwise afforded it. And I think that was an amazing use of time. I had a boss once tell me, do you know the only thing worse than spending a lot of money investing in staff who then may leave is if you don't invest in them and they stay.
Yeah.
And so I don't know a better answer for you, but I see potential. Although I have seen a lot of people here the last 2 days that I haven't met before.
absolutely.
So there are new people coming into the sector.
Yes.
Sometimes they may look younger.
Yeah.
Other times they may look more seasoned in their career, but they just came into the nonprofit sector last year, and they're trying to figure out what from my old job translates and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So like new can take a couple different forms.
Totally agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really good, it's a really good point. So many people are looking for meaning, especially with pandemic, and So let me ask you a slightly different question. We've sort of, in the past couple of years, I would say we entered the age of creator economy, right? So everyone has a podcast, everyone is a writer, everyone is on social media. So this kind of economy of attention. How is that component reshaping both individual fundraising efforts for causes, but also industry as a whole?
Wow.
We saved all the hard ones for you because we wanted to know.
It's fascinating. It's such a thoughtful question for it.
Thank you. Did you hear that?
Thoughtful.
It's insanely how about if I just start talking?
Yeah, please
and
do.
see if I can get to it.
great.
That sounds like a safe thing just between a few friends.
Yeah.
Most nonprofits raise more money by making more asks. They send more mail, they send more email, they buy more advertising, they hire more staff, they have more events. It's rare that an organization will do the same amount of activity year over year and have massive increases in response rate or average gift or awareness. Oftentimes our job to grow missions and to bring people in to new support is to just expand the movement, make more asks, bring more people in. And so to that regard, I think the creator economy is an important lever because it is offering scale in who you know. Some of the number of followers, right, for very niche areas, you would never imagine that more people tune in for a 7-minute weekly vlog on YouTube than a major cable news station. So the volume and the scale is there. Nonprofits and fundraisers of all stripes need that scale.
Right.
So my first answer would be creators are offering distribution scale. I think my second one would just be, we talked a little bit about trust over the last couple days, and if creators are younger, right, we talk a lot about Gen Z, and I don't think Gen Z has the same trust in institutions, in government, and in brands. They trust their friends, their family, and those who live closest to them. And if you ask my 16-year-old daughter, she trusts the influencers that she follows. She has a relationship with them in some way. So you got distribution and scale, and then you have trust, especially when it's authentic, right? When a creator has been through something authentically. And I think people can sniff through that. They understand when it's a paid sponsorship or when the creator actually believes something. There's one part that's missing though. If you got the scale and distribution, you got the trust, authenticity, and connection, I believe one of our jobs that we take seriously at GoFundMe is providing tools. If you've ever worked at a nonprofit and you have some major celebrity that is willing to promote your mission, but they say the URL wrong, or they say the wrong toll-free number and you miss that chance, right? We need to be able to provide creators with friction-free tools that can take all that attention and authenticity and take their supporters who maybe aren't trained in how to give and do it more easily.
So it's almost evolution also from a single well-known celebrity and entity to many that may not have individual reach, but it's a more democratized, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't Danny Thomas doing the same thing with St. Jude back in the 60s and 70s? Wasn't Jerry Lewis doing the same thing with MDA for years too?
Yeah, I think it's an evolution of authenticity, right? And now, to your point about distribution, platforms look different. Right? The platform for Labor Day looked one way for a long time. And that's why Jerry Lewis was able to capture the hearts and minds of my parents, right? And so, but that they felt an authentic connection there the same way that, that our kids may feel an authentic connection to an influencer in a different way today. One of the things that I love about it, and I love the idea that philanthropy and generosity is time-tested, and that you can go back and look at antiquity and see evidence of philanthropy and generosity. You can look at the rise of society and see how that spreads. And now you look at what technology does in terms of enabling people to connect with causes in a new way. Man, that is fulfilling in a lot of ways. It reminds us about the stewardship that we have in working in this space to help spread that authenticity.
To give you an example of how my personal hobbies and my professional life blur, on 4th of July I was at the pool and I decided to write a LinkedIn post about 250 years of fundraising in the United States. And I started with de Tocqueville and saying that he's going around the country in the 1880s after the Civil War and couldn't understand this American spirit of generosity where people would form associations, Elks, Rotaries, Kiwanis, Lions, like all of these groups that would come together as civic fraternities and help each other. And so I think you're right. There have been like these milestones, printing press, right? Different innovations that were an inflection point, but they're all an evolution along the same continuum that is as American as perhaps the flag itself.
Pulitzer's, ads in the newspaper to ask people to bring pennies, which literally funded the base of the Statue of Liberty. Like, there is a part of generosity in the West in particular. I think it's foundational to who we are. And you see those examples time after time after time. Now, what they would think about, Mr. Beast today compared to what they were doing would probably blow their mind, right? But it's still this idea of how it evolves and how it carries forward.
So I want to ask about, we talked about tools, we talked about kind of big conceptual things, but when I think about GoFundMe, it's about individual stories. So what are some of the most compelling, most emotional, most memorable things that you've come across that you just just get under your skin and stick with you?
It's unfortunate that suffering is a part of the human condition. And there are unimaginable tragedies that happen every day. And it is both a blessing to be able to provide help, but I think it's an obligation that we don't turn away from them.
Yeah.
When I worked at St. Jude, I got to meet a videographer by the name of Richard Davies, who encouraged me to always eat lunch in the cafeteria with the patients. And he said, it's going to be hard. You're going to lose friends and meet patients that pass away.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah.
But then he said, and you have an obligation to bear witness, to show up, to be there. And so, one story, there are small things and big. Because I remember a story from a few months back where a dad who was paralyzed liked to surprise his daughter by buying her those expensive drinks from Starbucks with all the sugar and the swirls and colors in it and things like this. And mom didn't know. So he would order DoorDash for these drinks to be delivered.
Yeah.
And a 90-year-old man walked up on the doorstep and needed to continue working as a DoorDash delivery driver in bringing his daughter her coffee. He saw the video, and the family decided they wanted to raise money so that this man could retire and not need to physically be in pain while delivering Starbucks drinks. The community responded with a level of kindness towards someone who had done nothing remarkable, but was just having to make ends meet, and they wanted to help. And so in that story, think about the through line of what a dad was doing to show his love for the daughter, what the driver was doing, what the community was able to show in support. And so when we say we exist to help people help each other, sometimes it's because there's a terrible death in the family or a catastrophic disease, and sometimes it's a story like that DoorDash driver who no longer has to run, deliveries to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So it's almost more about what it says about us than the object of that generosity.
Yeah. I will always be more impressed with the donors who give than the fundraisers who raise. And I've got a lot of respect for the people inside this hotel.
Sure.
Some of them, again, titans of industry who have brought big things forward. But yeah, it's the donors who are doing something special.
Steve, it's a perfect way to land the plane on this conversation, because we couldn't all do what we do if they didn't do what they do, right?
Yeah.
And so we appreciate you hanging out with us this afternoon on
Thanks
Bridge
for
Live,
having me.
taking time out of your Bridge experience, and so thanks for spending the time, man.
Of course. Well, thank you for what you're doing. Those years where I was unable to attend or had to stay home, you're bringing this experience and this message to a lot of people, and you're capturing some of those time capsules that it would be fun to look back on the conversations you've captured today, next year, year after that, year after that.
Totally agree.
So you're literally capturing a time capsule on video.
We are.
We are, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be back in just a few minutes.